Welcome to the AI Queens podcast, the show where women entrepreneurs learn to ditch the overwhelm, embrace AI, and build businesses fit for royalty. I'm Erika Stanley, your host and tech expert, here to deliver tools, tips, and actionable strategies to help you scale smarter. Let's get to it. Welcome to the AI Queens podcast, where we talk about ruling your business with AI. No jargon, no tech bros, and no BS. I'm Erika Stanley, and today we're doing something special. We have hit episodes 19 and 20, which means we're getting close to wrapping up season 1 at episode 25. And I wanted to celebrate this milestone by answering the questions you've actually been asking me. Today and next week, we're diving into a 2-part series covering 20 real questions that women are asking about AI. Not the surface level stuff that you see everywhere, but real concerns, practical questions, and the things you all actually need to know to use AI confidently in your business. Part 1 today covers AI in your business, ethics, privacy, and the bigger picture stuff that's giving you hesitations and keeping you from diving in headfirst. Next week, in part 2, we're talking jobs, career prep, staying relevant, and what I think is coming next in AI. And here's the thing. I know you have questions too. So as you're listening today, I want you to think about what you're still wondering about AI. Hit me up on Instagram at AI Queens Podcast or at Mile End Digital, or of course on LinkedIn with your questions, and I might just answer them in part 2 next week. All right, let's get into it. We're not here for surface level hacks. We want clarity, confidence, and strategy. Section 1, AI and your business. So the first question is, how can I use AI to automate tasks and improve efficiency? Okay, so we're starting with the biggest question I get. Everyone wants to know how to actually use AI to make their life easier. Here's my framework. I want you to start by writing down all of the tasks that you do repeatedly, daily, then weekly, then monthly, and then quarterly. Look at what you do every single day and ask, how can AI make this easier? Maybe it's an AI note taker for your Zoom calls so that you can actually be present instead of frantically scribbling notes. Maybe it's custom invoicing emails so that you sound like you, but you're saving 20 minutes each time. The key is to start small. Pick one daily task this week and figure out how AI can make it easier for you. If you need inspiration, you can even check out the website there'sanaiforthat.com. It's like a directory of AI tools for literally everything. And don't try to automate your entire business overnight. Pick one thing, master it, and then move on to the next. Question 2, how do I get the best results from AI? Do I need to learn prompt engineering? Girl, no, you do not need to become a prompt engineering expert, but you do need to understand how to talk to AI effectively. I use something when I'm creating prompts called the CROWN method. That's CROWN. The C stands for context. You're going to give it background, everything that it needs to know to answer and respond in a way that is going to be helpful to you. R is for role. That's the role that you want it to play, or basically the job description. If you were to hire out for this specific task, what role do you want it to have? O is for outcomes. I want you to be specific about what you want from the AI. If you are looking for a social media caption, tell it this is for Instagram. If you're looking for a blog post or like a podcast script, you need to tell it what outcome you want and also the goals. So, what are you hoping to gain from putting this request into AI? W is for warnings. You're going to tell it what not to do. These can be certain words or phrases that you specifically don't use in your brand or in your industry. It can be types of emojis that you don't use, or maybe you don't want to use emojis at all. It can be that you want it to avoid the dreaded M dash that everybody's all up in arms about, although for some reason it has a really hard time not using the M dash. Anyway, you can put all of that into the warning section. And then finally, the N is for next questions, or now ask me. You want the AI to ask you what else it needs to know in order to give you a good, solid response. There's always stuff that I forget when I am prompting. And so the AI, if it doesn't understand, it will come back and ask me questions so that it has more clarity before it answers. I know you've heard me say this before, but I want you to think of AI as your super green, but really eager intern. They're smart and willing, but they need clear direction. You wouldn't just tell an intern, go write something good. You'd give them context, examples, and specific instructions. So here's something else to remember. Expert users get better results because it's their expertise and experience helping to guide the ship, right? So, someone with your specific type of expertise and your personal genius can put in the same prompt as somebody who doesn't have that level of expertise. And you're going to know what's crap. Whereas somebody who doesn't have your level of expertise is not going to know that. And they might take something that ChatGPT spits out and just use it at face value. You are adding your level of expertise to help guide the back and forth conversation in a way that is most useful and most strategic. Question three: how can I use AI without losing my authentic brand voice? So, this is huge and something we dove deep into in my recent workshop in the AI Queens Society. Now, that workshop is available to my paid members at aiqueensociety.com if you want to join and subscribe to rewatch it. The framework that I teach is called the Brand Informed Systems Hub, or the BISH system, which is a framework that you can use to build custom AI bots in whatever language model you're using, and they're going to sound like you. You can take that template, that framework, and use it in any model. The secret is to upload your tone, your values, your point of view, your mission, your audience insights. All of that is going to go into this template and therefore into your AI tool. Then you can use that crown method that I just mentioned in that custom GPT or in your chat GPT or Claude prompts. You can give it examples of your writing, tell it, I never use corporate speak, or I always include personal stories, or my audience hates fluffy cheerleader type language, right? AI isn't going to magically know that you're sarcastic but warm, or that you always end emails with a specific sign off, like I do. I always end mine with cheers. You have to teach it that. But once you do, it becomes like having a specialized writing assistant who actually gets you and your voice. Question four, and I get this a lot. I actually just got it again today from a colleague that I was co working with. Which AI platform should I use? Oh, okay. So here's my TLDR: pick it and stick it. Seriously, just pick one and get really good at it. Now, ChatGPT is your solid generalist. It's kind of the OG, even though it's really not, but it's the one that really launched to the public first and kicked off this whole AI craze. So it's the one that most people default to. It's got a ton of features. They're constantly updating the model. And so it's probably the one that I use the most. It also allows you to create custom GPTs and then share them with other people. So if you are working with a team, if you're working with a VA, or if you're just creating things to share with people for fun, ChatGPT is the way to do that. Now, Claude, which is another LLM that I use pretty often, it is more thoughtful and creative. I really love it for longer form content and more strategic thinking. Google has gotten better. They launched and they were a little bit of a flop at the beginning, but they've really improved over time. And they also allow you to integrate if you are using Google in your business, like Google Drive, Gmail, it allows you to integrate and has for a while. But honestly, ChatGPT and Claude have also launched great Google integrations lately as well, where you can hook in directly to your calendar, your email, your Google Drive, and then you can chat with ChatGPT or Claude and ask, hey, this person sent me an email like a month ago about XYZ. You help me find it and give me better context. Or you could use it to search through your email and help you get a better understanding of a whole thread back and forth before you have a meeting with someone. But here's what really matters the most with these: choose the one that gets you and go deep with it. Don't platform hop every week chasing the shiny new thing. I want you to master one tool really well rather than being mediocre with five different tools. All right, let's pause for a second. We just covered the business basics: automation, getting better results, keeping your voice, and choosing your platform. The overall theme here is to start small, be intentional, and go deep rather than wide with your tools. Let's move from business basics to the things that are maybe causing you hesitations because you don't trust that the people that are creating AI have your best interests at heart. Because, spoiler alert, they don't. But here are some ethics, privacy, and trust questions that I've heard from you all recently. Question 5. Are my conversations with AI private and secure? I want to get honest about privacy because this matters, especially if you're handling client information. There is a difference in the way that all of the models handle your information. We're going to go through the top ones one at a time. OpenAI, they store your conversations. When you have a thread going, a conversation going, you'll see that it archives all of those in the left-hand sidebar so that you can continually go back to them. And with its latest memory update from a few months ago, it will actually use the information from those conversations to give it more context as it's answering a new thread that you have just started. It's a really cool feature, but it is saving all of that information. You can opt out of them using your data to train future models, which means that they are not using all of your chats as a way to train the next greatest model. But they are still logging and keeping all of those conversations and what you're doing. It's a good feature, right? Because we want to have access to that context and access to those conversations, and it makes it feel like it's learning about us and it's getting better at answering our questions. But there's a trade-off for that. Now, Claude from Anthropic, they keep those conversations private by default, right? So in ChatGPT, you've got to go and turn the little toggle off to opt out of them using your data for future training. Anthropic, their default is just off. So you do not have to opt out. You are automatically opted out by default. They are not using your chats to train their models. They are also keeping all of your conversations, but they're not sending that data out anywhere that we know of. Claude, it feels like, wants to be a bit more transparent with how they're using that data and a bit more ethical in how they're handling that data. But speaking about ethical, we've also got Adobe. And I want to talk more about Adobe because they are the company that has implemented AI that I really feel good about, right? They have a stated commitment to artists and writers, and they also have made sure that everything they've used to train their models, they had permission to do so. So when you input info into their AI, they don't keep it for more than 30 days. It's all self contained. And so it's only kept within your little AI world within Adobe. It's not used to train their model at all. And to be perfectly transparent, I am an Adobe Acrobat AI assistant ambassador, which which is a mouthful, all those A's. But part of the reason that I agreed to be an ambassador for them is because they are truly committed to these artist protections. And I love that. I love that they are trying to be as ethical with AI and with this development of new technology as possible. They're trying to make sure that they've got different, diverse voices at the table as they are training their models and making improvements. And I really love that about them. So, in terms of like private and secure, they seem to be doing a pretty good job. And on the flip side of that, we've got companies like Google, and they're not the only one, but we know that Google has a long history of using our browser history, our search history. They use that data and sell it to advertisers. And it's always been with like reasoning because I don't have children. So for me, getting an advertisement for diapers is a waste of money for the advertiser. And it's a waste of my eyeballs and my time to see an advertisement for diapers. It's just, Google can tell based on my search behavior that I'm likely not in that demographic. So they have been making money for years off of selling user data. And so I try and use Google carefully as I'm using their AI, just knowing that they have a past history doing that. Does that mean that they are doing that with AI? No, but I just want y'all to be careful. Here's here's my pro tip. If it's private or if it's about a client, don't input it. If it's a client, if you have permission, but just be really careful. And if it's private, then don't input it, period. Treat AI like you would treat any other third party tool. Assume someone could potentially see it and just stay careful. All right, moving on to question 6. Is AI biased or discriminatory? Well, all humans have bias. So guess what? AI does too. Perfect example. Grok, which is Elon Musk's AI model, it's been in the news lately where people are starting to notice that Grok is leaning more towards far right responses, some of which have been particularly problematic as of late. And I don't use Grok because I don't necessarily align with its creators' leanings. Gosh, how do I put this delicately? No, I don't use Grok because I don't like Elon Musk and what he stands for. So we'll just put that out there. So I don't use it. But I mean, honestly, here's what's really happening. Overall, all of these models and tech overall has traditionally been dominated by educated, privileged men. And so they are the ones that have been building the technology. So their individual biases and collective biases are built in just by default. Then there's this extra layer, right? Women have been slower to adopt AI. This has been shown in both Harvard Business Review studies and a study through Deloitte that was done globally. But because women have been slower to adopt AI, that means that they're using it less, which means that more male perspectives are actually going into the data that's then being used to train additional models and to make decisions on what those models need to look like and act like and how they need to respond. So it's a messy snowball growing of problematicness. That's not a word. But anyway, they're getting more data from men because men are using it. And therefore, all of the changes that are being made in the updates basically have the same biases built in. But here's the thing, using AI as women is actually part of the fix, right? That's why I want to get more of you all using it. When we speak up, when we use these tools, when we call out problematic outputs, we are helping to steer the ship. So don't let bias scare you away from AI. Be aware of it, question the outputs that seem off, and be part of making these tools better. Question 7. Could AI generated content be plagiarism? Okay, this is a bit of a gray area. It's not copy and paste plagiarism, but AI is trained on millions of websites, often without credit to the original creators. So here's how I think about it. I want you to treat AI as a co writer or a research assistant, not as your ghostwriter, right? I want you to use it to brainstorm, to get unstuck, to create first drafts that then you heavily edit and make your own. The landscape of all of this is changing as we speak. So Cloudflare, which is like a traffic cop that manages traffic to and from websites, is now charging AI bots to scrape websites. Cloudflare manages about 20% of the internet. So, what this means is it might have impacts on the deep research that we've been doing with these models. So, if we're no longer able to access everything across the internet, how impactful and accurate is the deep research that we're doing? We don't know yet. I have not been able to find the answers to that, but we will see. Bottom line is, I want you to think of it as a starting point and then add your specific expertise, your examples, your perspective, your stories. This is where it's really important to use that expertise because you know the difference between what's truth, what's relevant, and what isn't, what's potentially crap, or what it's missing. It might be missing something or misinterpreting something, and your expertise can help to balance that out. Question 8. What about hallucinations? Can I trust what AI tells me? Sometimes, yes, it's true. AI confidently spits out complete nonsense. In the AI world, it's called a hallucination. And it happens. It happens less now than it did a year ago, but it still does happen. And so my rule is always trust but verify. AI can be really good at fact checking itself. In fact, I just did an episode on using AI to fact check social media and our feeds, but you're going to have to specifically ask it to do so. And sometimes you might have to push it. You are going to have to ask where it got that information. You have to push it. Is this a credible source? And if you see, like if you click on the little link icon in if you're getting a AI Google response, or if you click on the sources in Perplexity, in ChatGPT, if you look at those sources and it's not pulling sources that you, as the expert, know are relevant expert sources, then you have to push back and say, hey, this blog from an unknown source from like 6 years ago is completely irrelevant. And you're pulling information from that. I need you to look for more recent sources and more relevant sources. And you can push it a little bit and it gets better, right? So it's amazing, as I said, for brainstorming, drafting, and it's a great creative partner. But you are going to have to guide it and push it to give you the quality information you need. Because at the end of the day, it's trained to give you responses that you're going to like. And just like that overconfident know it all friend that we all have, sometimes it's going to very confidently say something that is not at all true. Question 9. Is using AI tools in my work unethical or cheating? No. And copy pasting bad AI output without editing it is still icky. Here, transparency matters. I include AI usage in my client contracts, but basically all of my clients know that AI is my thing, so it's understood. Your clients may not understand that, and so you need to be transparent about it. Using AI is just like using any other business tool. It's all about how you use it. So, if you're using it to enhance your expertise, to be more efficient, to deliver better results to your clients, that's not cheating, that's smart business. The ethical line is about quality and honesty. Don't let AI make you lazy. Don't outsource your brain. And don't pretend you did something entirely by hand if you didn't. Okay, we just tackled some heavy stuff: privacy, bias, plagiarism, trust, and ethics. Big takeaway: be aware, be transparent, and use your own judgment. AI isn't perfect, but it's not evil either. Let's zoom out to the bigger picture questions about AI's impact on the world. We've got room for one more in this week's episode with question 10. Does AI have a significant environmental impact? I'm not going to mince words. Yes, yes, it does. ChatGPT uses about 6 times more energy to answer a question than just a straight up Google search. So, if you can Google it, don't ask ChatGPT. The big AI models use massive amounts of energy and water for cooling those data centers. This is not hidden. Everybody has heard this now. I also want to put this in perspective, though. A single pair of blue jeans takes around 2,000 gallons of water to produce, from the cotton all the way through the processing. Because of fast fashion, we are going through more of these clothes, wearing them, throwing them away. They're going into landfills. And I want to say, it's a similar thing with a hamburger. A single hamburger takes over 600 gallons of water to create. Now, all that said, about a dozen ChatGPT queries takes about as much water as a single drinking bottle of water. But when you compound that with how many billions of queries are being asked every single day, that's a whole lot of energy and a whole lot of water. So I want to keep things in perspective. Don't let it stop you from using a tool that can genuinely help your business. But please be aware and intentional with your usage. And don't use AI for the things that you can use Google for. All right, so that's part 1. 10 questions down and 10 more to go next week. Let me give you a quick recap of what we covered today. In the business section, we talked about starting small with automation, using the crown method for better results, protecting your brand voice with the BISH system, and picking one platform to master to go deep instead of wide. In the ethics section, we covered privacy basics, AI bias, treating AI as a co-writer instead of a ghostwriter, pushing AI to fact check itself properly, and being transparent about how you're using AI to your clients. And then finally, we wrapped up with the environmental impact, being aware and intentional with your usage and not using AI for the things that you can just use Google for. Next week, in part 2, we're diving into the career stuff: jobs, staying relevant, preparing for an AI driven world, and what I think is coming next that you should know about. Here's what I want you to do right now. Think about what questions you still have. What didn't I cover today that you're still wondering about? Hit me up on Instagram at AI Queens Podcast or find me on LinkedIn. You can send me your AI questions and I might just answer them in part 2 next week. I want more women to be leaders in this space. If you are listening to this and you're a manager in a department, in a company, I want you to be the leader, the informed voice on AI within your team. If you're a business owner, I want you to know the best ways that you personally can use AI to streamline things in your business. I want you to approach it with intention and fully informed so that you can make informed decisions on how to use it strategically. We are not here to fear AI or to worship it. We're here to learn it, to be curious about it, and to approach it from an informed position so that you're aware moving forward. Until next week, stay curious, keep asking questions, and keep reigning with AI. Thanks for listening to the AI Queens podcast. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow queen who needs to hear this. Want more tips and tools? Join the AI Queens Society at aiqueenssociety.com and start ruling your business with confidence today. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep reigning with AI.